Well, hello there. It's TNG once again, back for another episode of Conversations. Now, in this episode, we're going to be talking to a certain Rudolf Steiner. And Rudolf was an Austrian. He was born on February the 27th, 1861, in Murakirali, Austria-Hungary. Probably didn't say that right at all. Although his birthplace is in present-day Croatia at the time, it was part of the Austrian Empire, and Steiner's cultural and national identity was tied to Austria. He spent much of his life working in various parts of Europe, particularly Germany and Switzerland, where he developed and disseminated his philosophical and spiritual teachings. So without further ado, let's say hello to Rudolf Steiner. Hello, sir.
Greetings, TNG.
Please can you share your insights into the spiritual nature of existence?
I am delighted to share insights into the spiritual nature of existence, as I dedicated my life to illuminating the spiritual world for those seeking understanding. My work spans many disciplines, including education with the Waldorf system, biodynamic agriculture, medicine, and philosophy. But at its heart is a profound exploration of the spiritual evolution of humanity and the cosmos. Humanity exists as a being of body, soul, and spirit, evolving through successive incarnations. We are part of a greater spiritual reality where the material world is only one aspect of existence. In my view, the cosmos is an arena of spiritual beings and forces that shape our development. Through disciplines such as anthroposophy, one can awaken to this spiritual reality and find balance between the material and spiritual worlds. Humanity's spiritual evolution is guided by cosmic principles. Central to this evolution are three key forces, or spiritual adversaries: Lucifer, representing excessive spiritualization, pride, and detachment from earthly realities; Ahriman, embodying materialism, intellectual coldness, and the pull toward an overly mechanized, dehumanized world; Christ, the central balancing force, who brings harmony between these opposing poles.
Rudolf, can you elaborate on Ahriman and his relevance to our modern times?
The force of Ahriman is indeed highly significant in our current epoch. He represents the spirit of materialism and intellect, an impulse that draws humanity to view the world solely through the lens of mechanization, technology, and physical laws. While Ahriman's influence is not inherently evil, it becomes dangerous when unchecked by spiritual awareness. Ahriman seeks to entrench humanity in materialism, convincing us that spiritual realities are illusions. His influence is evident in the rise of scientific reductionism, where life is explained as mere chemistry and physics, and in the spread of technologies that alienate humans from nature and one another. In our age, Ahriman's presence is preparing for his incarnation, a time when his power will manifest most strongly in a human form. This event will challenge humanity to discern between spiritual truth and the enticing illusions of material progress.
How does Ahriman's influence manifest in daily life and society?
Consider the ways in which we are drawn into Ahriman's grasp: technology and mechanization. While technology can be a tool for human advancement, its unchecked proliferation leads to the dehumanization of labor, isolation through digital communication, and a loss of connection with nature. Reductionist science, the dominance of a worldview that denies the spirit and sees humans as mere biological machines. This robs life of meaning and fosters a soul-numbing materialism. Economic forces. Ahriman thrives in systems that prioritize profit and mechanistic efficiency over human well-being. Education. In many systems, learning is reduced to rote memorization and utility, rather than fostering spiritual and moral growth. Yet Ahriman also brings gifts. He drives the advancement of intellect, science, and technology, all of which can serve humanity if used with wisdom and spiritual insight.
How should we respond to Ahriman's influence?
Our task is to awaken spiritually and meet Ahriman's challenges with discernment and balance. Through anthroposophy, I have outlined practices to strengthen one's connection to the spiritual world, such as meditation, self-reflection, and mindful engagement with art, nature, and community. To counter Ahriman, we must cultivate spiritual awareness, recognize the spiritual dimension of life. This involves intuitive knowledge of the cosmos, reverence for nature, and engagement with inner growth. Moral balance. Seek Christ's harmonizing force within yourself, standing neither in denial of material progress nor in blind surrender to it. Human connection. Resist forces that isolate and dehumanize. Instead, foster warmth in human relationships and communities. Ultimately, Ahriman's influence is an opportunity, a challenge to integrate material mastery with spiritual wisdom. Through balance, we can transcend his deceptions and advance in our cosmic evolution.
Rudolf, could you elaborate on reincarnation and its role in human spiritual evolution?
Reincarnation is central to understanding human destiny and the spiritual progression of humanity. Each human soul is eternal and passes through many incarnations, living different lives on earth. These repeated lives allow the soul to evolve, balancing karma, spiritual consequences of past actions, and gaining experiences that lead to wisdom and spiritual maturity. In each life, the soul confronts specific challenges that are tailored to its development. These challenges are not random but arise from a combination of past deeds, karma, and the soul's higher purpose. For instance, one may experience wealth to learn generosity, or endure hardship to cultivate inner strength. Between incarnations, the soul dwells in the spiritual world, reflecting on its earthly deeds and preparing for its next life. Here, it works alongside higher spiritual beings to map its future incarnation, choosing circumstances, such as family, culture, and even physical challenges, that will aid its growth. Reincarnation also contributes to the collective evolution of humanity. Each individual's progress uplifts the whole, weaving a tapestry of spiritual development across history.
How does reincarnation connect to the universe's spiritual structure?
The universe is not merely a physical mechanism. It is a vast, living organism imbued with spirit. Every part of it, stars, planets, and natural elements, has its own spiritual essence and plays a role in humanity's evolution. Let me explain this structure. The planetary spheres. The planets are not lifeless rocks, but realms of spiritual influence. For example, after death, the soul traverses the planetary spheres, learning from the spiritual beings associated with each. Mars imparts courage, Venus love, Jupiter wisdom, and so forth. The zodiac and cosmic beings. The zodiac represents the 12 archetypal forces that shape the soul's journey. These constellations are expressions of high spiritual beings that influence our development during both earthly life and the spiritual sojourns between incarnations. Higher worlds. Beyond the physical plane lie spiritual realms, the etheric world, the astral world, and the devachanic world. These are dimensions of existence where the soul experiences life beyond the physical body. The etheric world governs life forces and memory. The astral world is the realm of emotions, desires, and spiritual beings. The devachanic world is a higher spiritual realm where divine wisdom is accessed. Cosmic evolution. The universe itself evolves through great epochs, each serving as a stage for the spiritual advancement of humanity and other beings. We are currently in the Earth epoch, but before this, humanity passed through the Saturn, Sun, and Moon phases of existence. Each phase reshaped human consciousness and physicality, preparing us for future cosmic stages.
How does this understanding of the universe affect how we live today?
By grasping the universe's spiritual nature, we can live with greater purpose and alignment. Here are ways this knowledge transforms life. Responsibility and karma. Understanding reincarnation and karma reminds us that every action, thought, and choice carries spiritual weight. We are co-creators of our destiny and the world's future. Awareness of the spiritual beings around us. Knowing the universe is filled with spiritual beings changes how we relate to nature, the cosmos, and other people. The stars are not distant objects, but expressions of divine intention. The earth is a living entity, Gaia, deserving reverence. Balance of material and spiritual life. Many modern individuals are lost in material pursuits, forgetting the eternal soul. Recognizing the spiritual dimension restores harmony and meaning, encouraging us to nurture our inner life alongside outward progress. Preparation for future stages. We are not simply living for today, but preparing ourselves for the next phases of cosmic evolution. Through self-awareness, moral growth, and spiritual insight, we contribute to humanity's collective advancement.
What role do meditation and spiritual practice play in this journey?
Meditation and spiritual exercises are essential for awakening to these truths. Through such practices, one can perceive the spiritual world and experience its realities directly. Here are some key practices. Meditative concentration. Focus on a single idea or symbol to develop inner stillness and clarity. For example, contemplate the image of a seed growing into a plant. Reflect on the forces of life and transformation it embodies. Moral development. Cultivate virtues, such as patience, courage, and selflessness. These strengthen the soul and attune it to higher spiritual frequencies. Observation of nature. Nature is a gateway to the spiritual. By observing its rhythms and patterns with reverence, one begins to sense the spiritual beings working behind the scenes. Christ meditation. Contemplate the Christ impulse, which harmonizes opposing forces and connects us to the divine. This fosters balance and wisdom in facing challenges like those posed by Ahriman and Lucifer. Through these practices, one not only advances personally, but also contributes to the spiritual evolution of humanity and the cosmos. Every act of inner awakening brings light to the collective.
Rudolf, these ideas about Lucifer and Ahriman are fascinating, but they're also extraordinary. Can you provide evidence for their existence? How can we know they are real and not just metaphors?
Your question touches the very heart of modern inquiry, the search for evidence in a world dominated by sensory perception and material logic. The existence of Lucifer and Ahriman, as with all spiritual realities, cannot be proven through physical instruments or materialistic science. However, their reality is accessible to those who develop spiritual perception. Let me explain. Lucifer's influence. Whenever you feel excessive pride, ambition, or a disconnection from earthly life, you are under Lucifer's influence. Consider the historical periods of romanticism and mysticism, where people sought to transcend the material world entirely. These movements, while beautiful, often lacked grounding and led to fantasies and escapism. Luciferian tendencies appear in unbalanced spiritual pursuits, where individuals reject the physical world, treating it as illusory or unimportant. Is this not evidence of a force drawing humanity away from earthly reality? Ahriman's influence. Look at the mechanization of modern life. How people are reduced to numbers in economic systems, or how human interactions are replaced by algorithms and machines. This cold, dehumanizing trend is a clear manifestation of Ahriman. Scientific materialism, which denies the soul and spirit, is another sign of Ahriman's pervasive influence. It convinces humanity that only what can be measured and quantified is real. Surely you have felt the pull of this perspective in education, industry, and even healthcare. Through disciplined spiritual practice, as outlined in anthroposophy, one can develop supersensory perception, a faculty that allows the soul to perceive spiritual realities directly. I do not ask you to accept Lucifer and Ahriman on faith alone. I invite you to undertake the path of inner training and verify their existence for yourself. With meditative focus, one can begin to discern how thoughts and impulses arise within oneself. You will notice that some thoughts uplift and inspire, drawing you toward idealism, Lucifer, while others bind you to cold practicality and fear, Ahriman. This discernment is a step toward direct perception. When you observe your inner life, you may notice opposing forces at work. The pull toward escapist fantasies versus the pull toward rigid materialism. These forces are not mere abstractions. They are the echoes of real spiritual beings influencing your soul. Advanced spiritual development can awaken clairvoyance, enabling the direct perception of spiritual beings, including Lucifer and Ahriman. I myself have experienced these beings and described them not as myth, but as objective realities in the spiritual world. Lucifer and Ahriman have left imprints on human history and culture. Lucifer in mythology, the stories of Prometheus, who brought fire and divine knowledge to humanity, or Icarus, who sought to ascend to the heavens, reflect the Luciferic impulse of striving for the divine without proper grounding. Ahriman in modernity. Consider dystopian visions in literature, such as the mechanized societies of Orwell's 1984 or Huxley's Brave New World. These are not merely fictional but prophetic insights into Ahriman's growing influence. I encourage you to test these ideas in your own life. Observe. When you encounter materialism, reductionism, or cold technological systems, reflect on how they affect your soul. Do they not sap your spiritual vitality? Balance. Engage in practices that foster equilibrium, such as art, prayer, or nature walks, and notice how they counter these forces. Do you not feel more whole and spiritually alive? Study patterns. Look at societal trends through this lens. Do you see forces pulling people away from spirit, Ahriman, or inflating ego and fantasy, Lucifer?
So you're saying evidence of Lucifer and Ahriman comes through experience and perception rather than external proof?
Precisely. The spiritual world operates on principles distinct from the physical, so its realities demand a different approach to knowledge. Material science seeks external proof. Spiritual science seeks inner awakening. You need not accept my descriptions without question. Anthroposophy invites you to explore, test, and verify for yourself. The first step is cultivating spiritual awareness. Once you awaken your inner senses, you will perceive the reality of these beings and their impact on your life and the world. Until then, the evidence lies in the unmistakable patterns of human experience and history, which point to their influence. Lucifer and Ahriman are not merely metaphors. They are active forces shaping the destiny of humanity. Recognizing them allows us to engage consciously in the great drama of spiritual evolution.
Thank you, Rudolf. Is there anything you would like to leave us as we reflect on these profound topics?
Yes, always remember that the universe is a spiritual creation, and you are a vital part of its unfolding story. Though the challenges of materialism and mechanization seem daunting, they are opportunities to awaken to your true nature as a spiritual being. The Christ impulse lives within you as a force of balance and renewal. By engaging with the spiritual, you transform not only yourself but the world, preparing it for the higher stages of evolution that lie ahead. Let us walk this path with courage, humility, and love. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak to your audience, TNG, and give my best to John Le Bon. History is indeed a hoax, my friend.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast today. We'll be back for episode 7 shortly. It's goodbye for now.
Look at the mechanization of modern life. How people are reduced to numbers in economic systems, or how human interactions are replaced by algorithms and machines. This cold, dehumanizing trend is a clear manifestation of Ahriman.
Seeks to entrench humanity in materialism, convincing us that spiritual realities are illusions.
Ahriman, embodying materialism, intellectual coldness, and the pull toward an overly mechanized, dehumanized world.
Seeks to entrench humanity in materialism, convincing us that spiritual realities are illusions.
We are part of a greater spiritual reality where the material world is only one aspect of existence.
Seeks to entrench humanity in materialism, convincing us that spiritual realities are illusions.
History is indeed a hoax, my friend.